Hey everyone! In this video we're going to be talking through some tips and tricks we learned from our visit to the ancient cities of Tulum and Coba down in the Riviera Maya, Mexico. Having had some interesting experiences before, we decided this time to try a private tour, and after many hours searching, decided on booking with MyQuest Concierge as they consistently came out as being the best option for us. Having followed Jose through the archway, it was easy to see why Tulum was known as the City of Walls. Once having housed between 1,000 and 1,500 people, it was a vast space with plenty of things to admire. It was interesting to learn about things such as the Temple of the Descending God, as well as understanding how the astrology of the ancient Mayans was perceived through their building. One of the best things about getting to Tulum early in the morning before it opened was the fact we were able to get up close and personal to the ruins without there being crowds around us. Jose was able to talk through the traditional methods used by the Mayans to colour the buildings through the use of their local plants. One thing we hadn't anticipated that we learnt whilst walking around Tulum was how up and down it was. As it turns out, the Mayans had identified the location of Tulum as being the highest point along the Riviera Maya, making it the perfect location to build the largest port to serve the city of Coba.
It was amazing to think only an hour's drive up the coast from Playa del Carmen, we were stood in an ancient port with stunning views over the Caribbean Sea. Stood atop the 12-metre limestone cliffs, the port was used to bring in essentials, with salt and textiles being the most common traded items. Be sure to look out for wildlife whilst in Tulum, as you will likely see iguanas, coatis and plenty of tropical birds.
Thankfully there were no jaguar sightings whilst we were there. Once wrapped up at Tulum, we embarked on a 45-minute journey inland to the jungle city of Coba. Once we'd arrived at Coba, one of the first decisions we had to make was whether or not we were going to self-cycle or jump on the back of a Mayan taxi. Feeling adventurous, we decided to self-cycle. Now, an important thing to note here is these bicycles are particularly old, and therefore it's really important that you make sure you have a good look at a number of them to find one that is most suitable to yourself.
Whilst riding the bumpy tracks, be sure to look out for wildlife, as there is plenty to see. One particular stop was to see some Mexican stingless bees. At only the size of a fingernail, they produce the most amazing honey, a must try whilst you're in Mexico. If you are on a tour, you may find you are riding past some of the ruins as we did. Don't worry though, as the guides are very good at ensuring you get to the sites with less crowds.
And if you're not on an organised tour, we definitely recommend you take up on this tip, as it ensures you've got the best opportunity to get photos without masses of people around you. After a short and bumpy ride through the jungle, we arrived at our first stop at the end of the track, the Notch Mole Pyramid, roughly translated as Large Hill. The largest site in Coba, this was once climbable but hasn't been since COVID. It was at this point Jose was very keen to show us how seashells could be found in Coba so far inland. As it turns out, these are fossils dated back from some 65 million years ago when the Yucatan Peninsula was once underwater.
As we backtracked on ourselves to the other sites, you can now see why the guides take you to the end first, as loads more people are now arriving. Make sure to like and subscribe to join us on future trips and get tips on the best destinations.
When you're walking and cycling through the jungle in Coba, make sure to look around. Throughout the trees you will see many different mounds nestled amongst the leaves. As it turns out, there are at least 6,500 buildings in the city of Coba, of which only 2% of them have been excavated to date.
Our last stop of the day was Taak Bi Ha Cenote on the way back to Playa del Carmen. After searching online and talking with Jose, we decided to go with his recommendation on this cenote, and it did not disappoint.
One of the first things we noticed when we got down into the cenote was that there was actually quite a few people. Descending down into the underground cenote, our decision to use water shoes was absolutely validated, as it could be a little bit rocky. As it turns out, this pristine underground cenote forms part of the world's largest underground river system, Sakak Tun. With over 235 miles of underground rivers, the Sakak Tun system has plenty of stalagmites and stalactites, all to be explored as part of its cenotes. The large group of scuba divers that were there when we arrived were due to dive further down into the system to then surface elsewhere in the area, leaving us with this pristine cavern all to ourselves. One of the best things about having booked a private tour was that once we'd finished up at our final stop, we were able to jump back in the car with Jose and head into Playa del Carmen for some authentic local tacos. This was a great way to get to know Jose and learn a lot about the local area and culture, and a fantastic way to end our tour.